Hey everyone, my name is Maxi Dominguez, founder and creative director of La Rosa Antigua, a sustainable fashion project by my organization La Rosa Collective. And today we're going to go over the fundamentals of how to kickstart your own vintage shop or resale hustle and be successful at it. But before we get started, cup of coffee. Let's go. Alrighty, so starting your own vintage shop or being a successful reseller. Before we get into it, I do want to go over some of the key points I'll go over in today's video. So one, it will definitely be talking about branding and the importance of creating your own identity. We'll be talking about sourcing and the different ways that you can source product for your shop. We'll also be talking about the importance of a daily routine and hustle. We're going to be talking about presentation and how to create aesthetically pleasing product and content so you can get your vintage shop out there into multiple marketplaces. Probably the most important is understanding the different marketplaces that exist within this industry and niche. The first one I want to touch base on is the branding. It's important and critical that you establish some base level of branding. Now, it's okay if you don't have the perfect name, the full vision laid out. The thing about branding that most people won't tell you is that it's actually an ever unfolding experience. The most important thing about branding is really being able to crystallize and pick up on a vision and a niche, right? So this is obviously gonna be very influenced by your own personal taste. So again, think of your personal interest as your brand Bible. Go and research the things that you personally enjoy to consume or the way that you like to personally dress yourself. I think the more authentic that you are with your branding, the more impact you'll be able to have within your vintage shop or reselling platform. Obviously, without any product or any vintage or any clothing, you don't have a shop, right? So sourcing is the second thing that I want to talk about. Sourcing is something that is one of those things that people struggle with a whole lot. Some people don't know where to go and find inventory. Some people don't know where to find the specific product that they want that fits their shop or their vision. So I think if you're new to the thrifting or vintage industry, the first place you should go and source is your own closet. A lot of the shops and resellers that we see and love today really kicked off from just wanting to make a little bit of money from some old clothing that they don't use anymore. Go through your closet and start weeding out the t-shirts that you just don't wear as much anymore. Through this process, you'll also be able to reflect on what are some styles and brands and graphics that you might still really enjoy that you'd love to see reflected into your new vintage shop. And you might also see some things that you aren't really feeling anymore, right? So these things might even be outdated. But again, it doesn't mean that there isn't somebody out there who's looking for that style or that brand that you could immediately kick off your vintage shop with. All of you guys have some homies or family members who literally have trash bags full of clothing that's just picking up dust that they're ready to donate to a Goodwill or maybe even throw away. Find those people, get on social media. The reason I say start with your friends, family, and your own closet is because you'll be able to get clothing, you'll be able to likely get clothing for free and or super cheap, and likely some very, very cool styles to kick off your shop with. Once you've already gone through your closet and have sourced from your friends and family's closet, now this is where the real digging and hunt begins. Obviously, if you're going to start your own vintage shop, you got to learn how to thrift, go to flea markets, and find those holes in the walls that really have those hidden gems that you really want to have for your shop. Goodwill, we till this day source and thrift from Goodwill. One good place that people won't tell you about is the Goodwill bins. One of my personal favorite places to thrift. The Goodwill bins is where you can actually buy clothing by the pound. In comparison to if you were to go to a normal Goodwill store where you buy t-shirts from anywhere $1 to $3. The kicker here is that you actually have to do real physical digging. Aside from the Goodwill bins and normal Goodwills, there's of course other thrift shops such as Savers and small local mom and pop shops, flea markets, thrift stores, and etc. Really, the best way to kind of find where these places are within your surrounding area is just do a quick Google search. The other place that I personally love to thrift at, which we've had a whole lot of success with, is estate sales and garage sales. The unique thing about estate sales and garage sales is that they occur on a weekly basis and they're all different. Every time that you go to an estate sale or a garage sale, it's always going to be something different, and honestly usually a one-time chance to find those certain goods that you wouldn't be able to find anywhere else. Just simply look up estatesales.net or garage sales near me on Google, and you'll see tons and tons of different listings within that search. And lastly, the other place that I personally think is really impactful to source from is online. Most people will tell you that it's on a marketplace, or most people have this perception that if a certain product is in a marketplace already, that it's already at a price point for the consumer, therefore it's not really going to be beneficial for you as a reseller. That's actually false. You can find some really good deals on online marketplaces such as Depop, Mercari, Poshmark, Grailed, and eBay. You just have to know what you're looking for and what you're looking at. Not everybody really knows what they have, so sometimes people will put things out there for the sake of just getting rid of it. And that's where you can find opportunity and being able to get a really good deal through somebody else's lack of awareness, honestly, if we're being honest about it. So with that being said, this is actually a really great transition to my third point, and that's creating a daily routine and hustle. Clothing doesn't sell itself. People think that resellers and owning a vintage shop is as easy as just finding clothing and then selling it. That's also false. There's actually an incredibly large amount of work that goes prior to making these sales. You definitely want to understand the clothing that you are providing to different marketplaces and to your audience. Now, understanding and just knowing what you have is just part of it. You also have to take a lot of responsibility and effort in immersing yourself in the clothing. So what does that mean? It means measuring all of the clothing that you have in order to be able to provide descriptive details and a great consumer experience to your audience. Immersing yourself in the clothing will not only allow you to give your audience a much better consumer experience, but it will also expand your knowledge of the clothing and the different varieties that are out there. So the fourth point that I want to touch on in order to have a successful vintage shop or reselling platform is presentation. So presentation is all about customer experience, right? So you definitely want to focus on creating great product photography. You want to create a customer and consumer experience that really makes the sell happen from beginning to end. If you want to take it a step above, you can even model the clothing that you are sourcing. Now, I know that you may not be able to model all of the pieces in your shop, but this is also a great way for you to invite some of your friends or some people in your community to come and play dress up for a while and get some cool photos of them taken. There's a lot of really creative ways in creating strong presentation, but it is absolutely critical if you want to have a successful shop. Whenever you're thinking about your presentation, also think beyond the photography, right? Think about the packaging that you're using when you ship out orders. Nowadays, people really enjoy a thank you card, investing into some stickers in your packages, or even getting recyclable poly mailers now that everyone is very sustainably conscious and we want to really be able to combat this idea of fast fashion. It's beyond just clothing, it's also about the materials and how we curate our customer experience from beginning to end. So the fifth and most important point that I want to touch on is the marketplace. Let's talk about online first. There's now dozens and dozens of different platforms in which you can sell your clothing online without the need of a storefront or having to sell in person. It's Depop, Mercari, Poshmark, Grailed. There's a couple of new ones such as BidStitch, and of course we have some traditional marketplaces like eBay. Now, I encourage you to try all sorts of different marketplaces, but the reality is not every marketplace is going to be a success for you. When it comes down to marketplaces, online is one of the most accessible and free ways to get your business up and going. But I also suggest you look into physical marketplaces. So this could look like doing pop-up shops at local events or marketplaces. This could be opening up your own booth at a local flea market. We have one and we actually see a lot of success from that. Make sure that you're listing and providing as many products as you possibly can. That doesn't mean get product that isn't selling, but make sure that you're providing different looks and styles and sizes for a large audience. You got to remember, vintage clothing, you can't just get, sizes small through 2XL on the same t-shirt. There's only one of it. Now, sometimes you might look at it and be able to get a few variants of it, but you got to make sure that you're providing different flavors and styles and looks for your audience. If not, they're just going to get bored with the little offerings that you have. So maximize on your efforts and your listings. Make sure you're trying out different marketplaces. Have a strong presentation through photography and creativity. Get that daily routine and hustle. Now, once you've gone through all of these steps, really it's just a matter of repeating and refining. And that's going to be it for today's video, you guys. Thank you all so much for tuning in. I hope this video was helpful to you all. If there's anything you'd love for me to expand on for your vintage business or endeavor, let me know in the comments. I'd love to be able to expand on any of the key points that we touched on today. So until next time, make sure to give me a follow. Let's touch base. Feel free to message me with any questions. My Instagram is at larosa.maximiliano. Here it is. You can also check me out in our vintage shop, Antigua, and that's going to be right here. But yeah, make sure to hit the subscribe button. I hope you all enjoyed this video, and until next time, peace.